Hey everybody, this is Brian Hogue. Welcome to Chiller Night Live. What the heck happened there those first few seconds? That's crazy. Alright, let me write my first chat of the night. Spelling counts, so I wanted to make sure. Look at this, Renee was the first. Hello, ufologist, horror host Brian Hogue. Chiller Night Theater Live pre-show. Alright, wow, there's a lot of emojis there. Just crazy. She actually beat me tonight. PBR Street Gang says, hey, hey, hey. Stephanie says, hey, y'all. Renee says, what's happening? All right, this is what's happening. The Chiller Night Live pre-show, by golly. We're from 8 p.m. Eastern Time until 9 p.m. We'll sit here and chat with you fine, frightening folks about all things horror, science fiction, paranormal. You basically pick the topic, and we'll just go from there. Anything under the Chiller umbrella, and that's how we do it here, folks. On Saturday night, this airs as the pre-show, an hour before Chiller Night Theater begins. And if you want to join us, if you're sitting here watching us on Stream TV and you're wondering how you can join us, you can do that every Tuesday night. We actually stream this live. You can interact with myself and all the viewers by, man, I'll tell you, by going on the Chiller Night YouTube channel, and these channels over here, around the creature from the Black Lagoon there, Chiller Night Theater, Chiller Night Escape Experience, and Jack Shadow's House of Terror on Facebook. So with that being said, Richard says hello. Hey Richard, thanks for joining us. Renee says maybe they'll show more UFOs, U.S. federal government, MIBs, Men in Blacks. Agents, NASA, Nothing Burger meetings are better than no television at all. Run around words, but at least there's something, and that is something live, and that something is live televised. All right, that is true. Lots. I don't know. It's strange, isn't it? Now, last week our topic was conspiracy theories, and we talked about some of this stuff last week, and I don't even know that you could put UFOs in conspiracy theories anymore, because it has been announced. I mean, officially announced that they are with us. They are real, and that is being announced. I don't think that they can hide that any longer. I just wonder, perhaps the origin of them could be the theory part. I don't even like to say conspiracy theory necessarily when it comes to that anymore. But now we'll get back to that. I'm sure we'll have plenty to talk about in that on that topic. But I want to put up the schedule now for this coming Saturday. This Saturday, July 29th on Stream TV, Chiller Night Theater. The schedule is at 8 o'clock, you'll be seeing the Chiller Night Live pre-show. That, of course, is what we're doing right now. And then at 9 o'clock, Carnival of Souls is our 9 o'clock feature movie of the week. And then at 10:35, The Mad Monster. 12:10 in the morning, Fiend Without a Face. And then at 1:45 in the morning, the movie is The Bat. There you have it. That is the lineup for this Saturday, July 29th. You can watch it on Stream TV at streammedia.tv. Hope you get a chance to check that out. And let's see. SBC says, hello, everyone. Hey, SBC. Thanks for joining us. Jeffrey Rex says, let's see. A little while back, you said you weren't doing Chiller Chat anymore. Glad you still are. Was that a publicity stunt? Well, it was not a publicity stunt, Jeff. What it was is Jack Shadow retired, and I'm just showing the reruns right now. Now, I've made this part clear. If we want to continue with, now Chiller Chat is something I've said that I'd like to bring that back. The Chiller Chat is the talk show part of it. Chiller Night Theater, however, is where we actually play the old movies, like the old Chiller Theater for Chilly Billy. Those ones, that one might not come back. that all depends on whether I can manage to juggle it or not. So, publicity stunt, not a bad idea as far as that goes. Renee says, UFO congressional meetings, 7 a.m. tomorrow morning. Get your popcorn and root for Representative Tim Burchett. He is our UFO man. Woo, woo, woo. Pump it up, UFO world community. All right. All right, there you go. UFO congressional meeting tomorrow at 7 a.m. That's kind of early for a congressional meeting, I'll tell you. Renee says, so why did Representative Tim Burchett vote against his own UFO amendment thingy? You got me. I don't even know who Tim Burchett is. Paul says, hey there, family. How are you and Ava doing? Give her a hug for me. We are doing very well. Thank you for joining us tonight, Paul. Renee says, why did Representative Tim Burchett say he invited NASA when never a straight answer, NASA, replied only one NASA representative officials invited but refused? Why didn't Tim Burchett just say that instead? Those are good questions. I wish I knew the answer. I don't even know who this guy is. This Tim Burchett, boy, I tell you. Renee's got some questions, and so do we. All right, what say you, Tim? If you're watching here tonight, would that be something? We want an answer. We the people want an answer. PBR says, oh, I love Carnival of Souls. All right. That's a good movie. Very entertaining. Renee says, don't get me wrong, love Tim Burchett, but wish he didn't do those two controversial things on what he did and said. Y'all in the UFO world community know his contradictions, but still love his UFO passion. I don't know, do any of you, well, obviously Renee is familiar with Tim Burchett, but do any of you, are you guys aware of this? I'm not aware of this. I gotta say, I don't follow that very well. I suppose if I was still doing Chiller Chat, maybe that's something I would be following and brushing up on. Renee says, on March 14th, 8:04 p.m. in San Francisco, seen UFO in the sky on Market Street and 3rd Street. That was between O'Farrell Grant Street at 4th Street. Oh my God. WG says Rick and Morty, mind-boggling. I was flabbergasted. On March 14th. Now, what year? I mean, it was this. I remember you mentioning that you've seen a UFO. San Francisco. Now, that's interesting that you would bring up a mass sighting like that. What were the reactions of those around you? I mean, I have seen on some of the videos, one of the first ones that I saw that was showing mass sightings like that, like in places like in Mexico City and stuff like that, was Out of the Blue. It was a documentary called Out of the Blue. And I saw that probably back in like 2004, 2005. I'm guessing somewhere in that vicinity. But that I thought was interesting. I mean, you know that you're seeing something with, well, whether you're by yourself or not, but especially in a mass sighting like that. But you know that Area 51, Renee says. What do you think's going on in Area 51? What do you think? Stephanie says, I went to watch the original Friday the 13th today. Really? With Jason's mother as the killer. Wow. The original one. That's going back a ways, isn't it? Renee says, Roswell, 1947. Yes, the famous Roswell, New Mexico UFO crash of 1947. Paul says, Dr. Jack is my surgeon for my brain surgery. He needs to pass the exam. Yeah, that would help, wouldn't it there, Paul? That is why he's retired. Yeah, maybe he's studying, huh? Daniel says, I was just told by a coworker that if you shine a green laser into space at night, chances are, if you're lucky, aliens would respond back by shining a light back at you. Well, give it a try. Let us know what happens here, Daniel. Yeah. Hey, what could it hurt? Unless you make them mad, I guess. SBC says, I hope Bonehead is all right. We haven't heard from him in a while. Yeah, it's been like 4 weeks now. I wrote to him, hoping to get a response. I've not got a response from him. So, yeah, I hope he is okay. Roger says, good evening. Good evening, Roger. Thanks for joining us. Paul says, P.S. Skinwalker Ranch on at 9 p.m. Okay. I'm sure you'll be watching Skinwalker Ranch tonight. Now, for those people on Stream TV watching this on Saturday night, he's talking about Tuesday night. All right, so still watch Chiller Night Theater at 9 o'clock on Saturday. Renee says, I'm so sorry. I'm totally into the 4.5-hour UFO government thingy tomorrow. Because what if maybe Congress will just give up and give it in, bring the extraterrestrial alien UFO Starcraft to the... And then there's ... All right, she's finishing up her statement here, I'm sure. SBC says, an interesting thing is here on German TV radio, we don't hear anything about the whole UFO thing. That is interesting. I wonder why that is. Tom says, I miss Bones' humorous responses. I do too. I do hope he's okay. I do. I have noticed that. I wrote to him last week or week before, just checking in, see if he was okay. I got no reply. Renee says, meeting and say, aha, we're finishing. The Starcraft to the meeting and say, you're right. Just like the Roswell 1947 newspaper said, the Army Air Force captures flying disc. I think they should... Oh, wait, no, Renee, you're totally mistaken on that. That was a weather balloon. That's what they said. They came out and said that, so, I mean, you know, if they're telling you that, I mean, I'm sure they're not fibbing. Adam says, will you be watching the UAP hearing tomorrow, Brian? No, I didn't. I wasn't aware of that. Well, I'll be working during the day, so I won't get a chance. I'll probably have to check out what I'm sure will be highlights on, you know, online on social media. I'm sure they'll be on there. Renee says, Stanton Friedman, Bob Lazar. Yeah. Well, at least Bob can still have some things to input and say. I believe Stanton, he's passed away. I believe he has. Pretty sure Stanton has passed away. But, yeah, he had a lot to say about all that. Stephanie says, hey, Bones, you okay? Yeah, Bonehead, where are you at? Paul says, hey there, Tom. Renee, Laser, STR. Renee says, weather balloon crash test dummies. Ha, LOL. Right? What? That sounds perfectly believable. You know, there are, you know, just wonder, you know, is the UFO the cover-up, or is the reverse engineered craft that we supposedly made the cover-up? You know, it's hard to say. So I guess I believe in the UFOs. I just wonder how much is the actual UFOs and how much is the I was gonna say the fabricated UFOs. I guess they're all fabricated in one way or the other. You know, how much of that stuff is ours? You know, from the reverse engineering. Renee says the Phoenix Lights. Yeah. And, you know, the governor of Arizona at that time was very, he regretted making a joke out of that because, you know, a lot of people got mad at him. I'm sure most of you recall they had a press conference about the Phoenix Lights. This is the Phoenix Lights. If some of you are watching and you're not aware what that is, back in Phoenix, Arizona, I think it was back in between 96 and 98, 97 perhaps, could be. There was a mass, speaking of mass sightings, that was a mass sighting in Phoenix, Arizona about the UFOs. I mean, there was clearly, obviously, very obviously something in the sky for quite some time in the air, and obviously citizens were very concerned about that. And the governor at the time, I don't remember I don't remember his name. I remember his face. I remember seeing clips of this. Look it up on YouTube. You'll find it there. But he had a press conference, and they made a joke out of it. They had some guy walk in with an alien mask on and stuff like that, and then he said later on that he did regret doing that, because he said there were a lot of people who had a lot of legitimate concerns about what was going on, and wasn't the right thing to do. So I would think you would have thought of that before doing something like that, but maybe he was encouraged by the powers that be to do something like that. Tom says Laser. Is Laser here? Laser, if you are here. Oh, there he is. Yeah, bonjour, mon ami. Okay, Lasercorn, thanks for joining us. Laser says you're thinking of Fife Symington, the then governor of Arizona, Brian. Aha! That's it. I would have not remembered that name at all. But yes, I was thinking about him. SBC says, the doorbell just rang. I'm getting visitors, not from the Men in Black, but from my mother. She actually wanted to come an hour earlier. But, well, see you all next week. All right, SBC, well, tell your mother hello from us, and we'll see you next week. Renee says, Dr. Stephen Greer says he has evidence of a soldier whistleblower who transported and sold cocaine and weapons to other countries aboard reverse-engineered extraterrestrial alien UFOs. Okay, I'm just reading that again. Sold cocaine and weapons to other countries aboard you would think that wow, we're gonna reverse engineer an actual UFO. What are we gonna do with it? Oh, I don't know. Let's sell cocaine and weapons out of it. Jeez, holy cow! See, that's why we don't have nice things. Well, apparently, I guess we have some nice things, but wow, selling guns and drugs. PBR says, I remember some of the hypersonic missile tests done in California. Scared the crap out of a lot of folks, and the alien crowd really kicked in the high gear. I would imagine so. Anytime that you don't have the answer to something, your mind will fill in that blank. So I believe there's enough truth out there with these things. Obviously there is. I mean, we know that now. And then when you see or hear something, the longer they hold back on giving us the truth, the full disclosure, the more we're just going to do that. That's what we do. That's what we do. We don't know the answer to something, whether intentional or not. We're going to fill in that gap. So, I can imagine they really kicked in the high gear about that, like you said. Renee says, we in the UFO community hate Fife Symington forever, his aide wearing a stupid, ridiculous alien costume. Yeah, and like I said, I know he regretted doing that, but why did he do that to begin with? If you're the governor of a state and you know that there are tons of people, your citizens, who are concerned. I mean, obviously having a legitimate concern about something of that magnitude, mass sightings, and they're making a joke out of it. I mean, talking about your inability to read the room there, pal. Richard says, I love Tuesday nights because of your show. Oh, thank you, Richard. Thank you. We love Tuesday nights, too. This is a fun hour. Renee says, we in the UFO world love Frances Brownwood. I gotta admit, Renee, I'm not familiar with that name, Frances Brownwood. I'm familiar with a lot of the names that you're given, but not with that one, I gotta say. Paul says, do not answer the door, SBC, it's the government. Yeah, they're just pretending to be your mom. That's it. Renee says, they made fun of Frances Barwood and made a cartoon Reddit Star Trek Enterprise was flying through her brains. Oh, is that right? Yeah. Again, we were talking last week about, the topic was conspiracy theories, and And that's just it. You know, whether there is 100% a legitimate truth out there to be analyzed, to be studied, at least to be questioned, okay, at the very least. And they say, no, we told you this is the truth. Right here's the truth. Yeah, but this doesn't make sense. I'm going to look over here. Oh, no, get back over here. No, this is the truth. You don't need to look over here. We told you the truth. Your truth isn't adding up. I'm going to look over here because this seems to be, oh, conspiracy theorist, you just slap that label on you, you know? No, I think we as a species, you know, if you're you know, not one who's prone to go with the herd mentality, you do look for things like, I don't know, I want an answer. You know, what you said makes no sense. You know, with anybody with a shred of critical thinking skills, that makes no sense. Nah, I'm going to go look on my own. So, and thank goodness a lot of people do that. They might be wrong, but it's not wrong to question it. It's not wrong to go look, you know. And when we did do Chiller Chat, I haven't done Chiller Chat since, what, 2021? So, see, Jeff, that wasn't a publicity stunt or whatever you made the reference to earlier. You know, I haven't done Chiller Chat since 2021. And now that might be something that I bring back, but right now I couldn't keep up with that, with everything else I have. But we used to talk to people like that who were curious and you know, who had information. They collect a lot of information, whether they've seen something themselves or had some kind of experience themselves, or they're just interested enough to learn more and they are going on other people's experiences and find that fascinating and want to talk about it. We had them on the show. That's what we were doing. Let's see. Lasercorn says, you want to hear about a seriously out there but likely true UFO incident? Look up Mike Herrera, Herrera, for anybody who wants to look that up. Mike Herrera, not only did it involve a sighting of a UFO, but a Black Ops cover-up involving human trafficking. Oh, really? Wow. Human trafficking. Well, that's really, I don't know if it's in the main news. I stopped watching that. But I know that human trafficking is obviously a big topic right now with, you know, that movie, The Sound of Freedom. I went and saw that a few weeks ago. Abe and I did. And, yeah, it's really, if you get a chance to see that, it really is a good movie with a lot of good, useful information. It's hard to imagine it's hard to imagine the human beings can do that to other human beings, especially to children. They're not just children, but this movie, you know, talked about children specifically. Renee says, Tom King, what are the major UFO eyewitnesses who filmed the Phoenix Lights, is my personal UFO family friend in the UFO community. Really? Oh, that's cool. He's on certain live UFO chats we hang out at. Oh, that's neat. Very cool. Tom King. Paul says, what about Dr. Emmett Brown? I don't know. What about Dr. Emmett Brown? Paul, let's see. Laser Cord says, sorry, Renee, I hate Richard Doughty more than Fife Symington by light years. Richard Doughty. Who's that? Is that the guy who was involved in the human trafficking? Some of these names I recognize, some I don't. And not only for my sake, you know, to quell my curiosity, but maybe there's some viewers on here who don't know what who you're referring to. So, do indulge us. Richard says, Close Encounters of the Third Kind used some sightings from people in my town they say they had. What? Really? How'd they do that? I mean, did they just like look up articles or something? Or now I'm curious, did somebody involved in the movie actually come out and contact them after hearing that they had some kind of experience. Paul says, just got a new phone. I can't find you on Facebook yet to request friends. I'm there, Paul. Just keep looking. I've done that. I don't know what's wrong. I don't know what's wrong with that. PBR says, on a bit of a Tura Satana movie kick. On a bit of a Tura Satana movie kick. It's one of my guilty pleasures. Don't judge me. Tura Satana. I don't know. Tura Satana. But hey, enjoy your guilty pleasures, and you will not be judged here, PBR. Renee says Francis Barwood is the one who brought up the Phoenix Lights. Okay, at the council, and is the one made fun of by Fife Symington's aide in an extraterrestrial alien costume, and scoffed her off. Yeah. What a stupid thing to do, too. I mean, I'm glad to hear that years later he deeply regretted doing that. He felt his actions were very inappropriate, but he did do it. You know, he should have had some answers there. Can you imagine that? Oh, let's say that was a nationwide incident where everybody had seen that, and then somebody, you know, a government official gets up and does that very little stunt there. How would we feel about it? I mean, it was pretty obvious. We wouldn't think it was very funny. Let's see. Project Bluebeam. Renee says Black Knight Satellite. Tom says which movie? Sound of Freedom is what, if you're referring to the one I was talking about, Sound of Freedom. I know there's a delay here. Sound of Freedom with Jim Caviezel. I think I'm saying his last name right. The guy who played Jesus on the Passion of the Christ. Lasercorn says, Hera testified to Congress that this event truly happened in Indonesia in 2009. If he made it up, then he's likely going to jail for a very long time. Huh. And that's the Black Op incident that you were referring to, I take it? Look back here. Huh. All right. I might have missed something here. But, oh, Herrera. That's the guy you were talking. Okay, the Herrera, Mike Herrera. Okay, gotcha. Now I'm back on the same page. Sometimes I got to scroll up and find the reference to what you're. Renee says Tom King's the on Unsolved Mystery, the Phoenix Lights episode, and other UFO documentaries. He's the one that says major sightings here, and also I have the third light popping out. Classic quotes. All right. Look up some of these names if you're interested in this stuff. If you're a viewer and you're watching this and you just maybe you're not necessarily involved in the back and forth here, the chat, or maybe you're watching this at a different time. But there's some names here you might want to look up: Tom King and Mike Herrera. Although Mike is not. Not only did it involve a UFO, but a Black Ops cover-up involving human trafficking. That might be something I have to look into. That sounds very strange. Passion, Jim Caviezel, Renee says. Yeah, he was the guy who played Jesus on that movie. Renee says Sasquatch, Mothman, Jersey Devil. Throwing out a lot of the cryptozoological mysteries there. Paul says, what is the Black Knight Satellite? Yeah, that's one I gotta say, I'm not familiar with that one. Lasercorn says, Richard Doughty was a USAF, U.S. Air Force, an intel officer that was involved in an ongoing disinfo campaign against Paul Benowitz, which drove Benowitz literally insane. Really? Huh. Wow. Some interesting stuff there for some viewers who have an interest in this type of thing. Look up these names. Richard Doty, D-O-T-Y, is who Lasercorn's referring to. Renee says El Chupacabra. Yes. It's one I don't hear about often, El Chupacabra. Just like the Loch Ness Monster. Those ones are kind of on the, you know, they're not mentioned here as much. They're not on the highlight like Bigfoot and stuff like that. Richard says, things are looking like a Japanese movie with a delay tonight. Quite entertaining. Oh, is that right? My words aren't matching up with my lips? That might be very strange. Tom says, okay guys, trying to get this project done and listen at the same time, and it's not working. I'll see you ne'er-do-wells next week. All right, Tom, we'll see ya. See you next week. Renee says, Majestic 12, Philadelphia experiment. Wow. Yes, throwing out some very high-profile unexplainables there, or conspiracy theories, or whatever you want to call those. Richard says, my oldest son's high school football coach did an interview with the UFO researcher because he claimed he was abducted. It's on YouTube somewhere. Oh yeah, throw a link up there if you could find it. You know, some of you might want to watch that if you feel like it. Lasercorn says, yeah, regardless of his service, I loathed Dottie for what he did to Benowitz. Yeah, anybody involved in something like that, deceiving the public, basically. PBR says, anyone a Doctor Who fan? I've seen little clips of Doctor Who. I gotta say, I've never actually seen. I may have seen a couple episodes of it, like maybe decades ago, but I never got into it. Not because I didn't like it. It's just because it was one of those shows that I could just never. Like what was the other one? Dark Shadows. That was another one that I'd probably like it if I sat and watched it continuously, but to just kind of henpeck my way through the episodes, it never really took with me. But I understand it's very good science fiction. Tom says, up to Matt Smith I was. Up to Matt Smith I was. Cool. I don't see that reference. Okay. Slender Man, Renee says, the tall whites. Skinwalker Ranch. Ah, there's one that Paul would like. Skinwalker Ranch. Paul says, damn, I got to see you next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. Give Ava a hug for me. All right, we'll do there, Paul. Thanks for joining us. Renee says, Phil Schneider. Dulcie Bass. Now, I have heard of the Dulcie Bass, the underground goings on with Dulcie Bass. Doesn't sound very nice what they were doing. Let's see. PBR Street Gang says, did not know Peter Cushing was the original Doctor Who and also Moff Tarkin. You know what? I did not know that either. I gotta say, I have no idea. I had no idea that Peter Cushing was Doctor Who. Now those ones, I absolutely would go back and watch Peter Cushing as Doctor Who. I wonder if they have those on YouTube, because he's one of my, as far as classic actors and, the old horror actor and stuff like that, I really enjoy his acting. He's one of my favorite actors. Let's see. Renee says, Bud Hopkins, Intruders and Missing Time books. There us like 171 seasons of Doctor Who. Yeah, quite a bit. Whitney Strieber's Communion movie. Christopher Walken portrayed him. Oh, yeah, okay. All right. Interesting. Men in Blacks, Renee says. MIBs. Jason says, I only watched a few episodes of Doctor Who with the actor who had the really long scarf and curly hair and big nose. I can picture who you're talking about. I would never know his name, but yeah, he's kind of who I think of, though, when someone does bring up Doctor Who. Now I'm going to be thinking of Peter Cushing, but I got to see an image of that. I got to see a picture. Joe Expo says, I agree on Dark Shadows. Time travel wasn't working for monsters. Oh, did they have time travel in that show? Or are you talking about Doctor Who? I can see Doctor Who and time travel there, but wasn't working for monsters. Paul says, okay, I already read that. Brad says, have you ever open sourced films? Brian, it's not copyrighted. It's sort of like public domain, but the owner gives you to watch it with permission and put it into shows like Chiller Night Theater. No, I've never heard of that. Open source film. I wonder how you go. Is that a site you go to request that information? I gotta say I've not heard of that. All right, it's 8:36 right now. Speaking of Chiller Night Theater, I'm going to put the schedule up right now. All right, so 8 o'clock. The frightening fun begins at 8 p.m. Eastern Time with the Chiller Night Live pre-show, which is what you are actually watching right now. We are streaming this live on Tuesday night. So 9 o'clock, the feature movie of the week is Carnival of Souls. Then at 10:35, the movie is The Mad Monster. 12:10, the movie is Fiend Without a Face. And then at 1:45 in the morning, the movie is The Bat. Of course, with Agnes Moorehead and Vincent Price, you night owls, you gotta stay up and watch The Bat. And look at the times if you're new here. 10:35, 12:10, 1:45. The reason being, you guessed it, we play these back to back. So check it out. If you like the old chillers of yesteryear or yesterfear, check out Chiller Night Theater every Saturday night on Stream TV. All right, it's the right thing to do. Jason said Peter Cushing was one of the best horror movie actors. I 100% agree. And he made Hammer Horror and Amicus movies. Cushing's Doctor Who is on ITV. ITV, okay. I didn't know that. I didn't even know he played Doctor Who. Or if I knew that, if I'd seen that at some point, I totally forgot about it until just now. So that's cool. Renee says, the moon is metallic, hollow, lunar module crashed into it and rang like a bell gong for 3 hours. I did hear that. I heard about that incident. Yeah. It was just ringing, like you say, like a big gong for like 3 hours. I don't know how they explain that. Richard says, what's the TV schedule for Saturday? Okay, I'm sure that was a delay, and you asked that before I put the schedule up. But and I will also put that up again, of course, throughout the night. But the 9 o'clock movie, remember, is Carnival of Souls. So check that out. If you've never seen that movie, check it out. It's just a really good, entertaining movie. Renee says, Loch Ness, Wendigo, AI. Let's see. Laser says, AI scares me, and definitely more than the Wendigo, Renee. Wendigo. Yeah, because it can affect things on such a worldwide scale. PBR says, also started X-Files from the start, 10th season. Now you're bringing up the show, the X-Files. That was a super good show, a very entertaining show. And that had a lot of things to it. Remember when they had the lone gunmen? Those were the guys that Mulder was friends with. So he and Scully would go to them for a lot of the research, the backstory to a lot of the things. And the lone gunmen would, a bunch of guys, there was like, what, 3 or 4 guys, I think it was 4 of them, that would sit there and kind of give them intel about certain obscure things, these conspiracy theory topics. And then they branched off with a series of the Lone Gunmen. It didn't last, but it, I think they were better off in the X-Files to be used as kind of a sounding board or something. But it was one of those things where I just don't think, obviously they really couldn't pull their own show. Which is what I'm wondering about Daryl Dixon in The Walking Dead, that spin-off show that's coming up in I think it's in September, the Daryl Dixon show. I like that character in The Walking Dead, but I just don't know. I'll be curious to see if he can hold his own in actually leading a show. I think he's more of a, I don't know, what's the word? Sidekick? I don't know about sidekick necessarily. You got the captain, then the sergeant. I think he's more of the sergeant kind of guy, where Rick Grimes would be more of the captain or the. I don't know. We'll see. Might be pleasantly surprised. Renee says, Die Glock, Nazi Bell, Keckberg. I saw an interesting picture, speaking of Kecksburg and the Nazi Bell, I saw an interesting picture on Facebook this week. Just either today or yesterday. But it looked like a photograph. I have to ask, remember Brian Seach and Terry Seach? They were on here. They've been on the Chiller Chat several times. I've talked to them. And I think it was something that he had posted where it was he was reposting it, sharing it, somebody else's post. But it looked to me like an actual photograph from Kecksburg. And I was going to write to him and ask him about this. Brian, if you happen to see this, maybe you can let me know if I forget to ask you. But it looked like a photograph of the Kecksburg UFO, the object, okay? That is shaped like that acorn or the bell shape. And it looked like it was on the back of a military truck. Now, there's a story that the military came in and quickly, very promptly, gathered up that object and got out of there with it. But I did wonder if anybody had an actual photograph of that. And was the photograph that I saw an actual photograph from Kecksburg? I should check what's now. Stan Gordon is probably one of the most top authority as far as his knowledge on the Kecksburg, Pennsylvania incident. And I'll have to, if I do talk to him again, I would like to ask him if he knows of any photographs. Did anybody take a picture? I mean, it looked yesterday or the day before like somebody did. I just wonder if that was, because I was looking at that like, wow, is that actually from Kecksburg? I kind of went on there for a bit. But Renee, you jogged my memory there about something pretty recent. Renee says extraterrestrial aliens live inside the moon. Do you think so? Do you think it is? Do you think it is a base or something like that? I have heard that theory. I have heard that. So that fits in perfectly with tonight's topic of conspiracy theories. Renee says Mandela effects. Another interesting topic. Now this is a fun episode right here. I do enjoy stuff like this. That makes me so bad want to bring Chiller Chat back. After I get everything up and running and constructed, I would love to bring Chiller Chat back. Renee says 1979 St. Francis Theater. Packed moviegoers laughed when Moonraker's Dolly kisses Jaws' metal mouth with her metal braces scene. But when I rented Old Library Moonraker DVD, Dolly's braces disappeared. What? Really? They put in a different scene in that, huh? Probably filmed a couple different ways of doing it and put that one in for some reason. I wonder why they would do that. Richard says, just curious if any explanation has ever been given on crop circles. I've never heard any explanation that's made sense. There is a very interesting video. Maybe look it up on YouTube. And I don't know, I'm just trying to think of crop circles being formed. There is a video that took place in Ireland or Scotland or somewhere where somebody took a really neat video showing this object coming down, and instantly they were looking up. I think that they were looking at an angle, and they saw this thing swoop across the field, and all of a sudden, it's just instant. All those things just formed an image on the ground. And it looked like an old film. I don't know if it was Super 8 film or what it was, 8mm. But check it out if you get a chance. Or if I remember, I'll try to bring it up for next week. Renee says, oh, no. Rented old library Wizard of Oz and saw Munchkin Midget committing suicide by hanging himself during Yellow Brick Road scene. But I recently rented it again, and now hanging's replaced by a large stork crane. What? Really? Is there? Now I've heard this scene did exist where you saw somebody actually hanging there in the background, one of the scenes. Has anybody else seen that? Or have you even heard of it? I've heard of it. I have heard of it. I know that was I didn't know if that was kind of like an urban legend type of thing or whatever they would call it in the film industry. Whatever the equivalent title for that would be, but you actually saw it, Renee? Interesting. I've only ever heard of it. PBR says the original Wendigo story by Algernon Blackwood is a truly terrifying story. I gotta say I've never read. I've heard of the Wendigo or Wendigo or Wendigo, however you pronounce it, but I'm not familiar with that particular story. Lazy Corn says the Lone Gunman was the best thing about the X-Files. Yeah, they were right up the alley there with the conspiracy theories. Richard Cook says the X-Files is on Comet TV. Okay, if any X-File fans want to go back and rewatch some of those episodes, check it out. Stephanie says Daryl Dixon is my favorite character ever. Yeah, I was really hoping that they would keep Daryl on there as long as they did. I was like, oh man, don't kill this guy off. He's really cool. I like Daryl probably. I mean, he had quite a character development. You know, obviously I would believe you're not going to be the same person in the zombie apocalypse over a period of all those years. Went from just this wild man, you know, the feral Daryl, to a leader, you know, stepping up in a position of leadership and responsibilities, and but with Daryl, as much as I do like that character, but I like Daryl as a supporting character. There are certain characters who can hold a show, and this is my opinion. I mean, think what you will, but like Rick Grimes, Negan. I actually enjoy, I was going to bring this up, Dead City. I don't know if you guys saw that series. It was just 6 episodes for the first season. It just finished up Sunday night. But that's a really good one. You know why? I think so is because it takes me back to how The Walking Dead felt when it first started. That's what Dead City felt like to me, where Negan and Maggie go to New York City. And they are, to me, it just seemed like they popped open the zombie apocalypse container from the beginning again. I mean, that's how it felt, because you're in a completely new environment there in New York City, and it was a good show. I enjoyed it, so looking forward to season 2 for that one. Jason says, Brian, did you like Millennium with Lance Henriksen? I did enjoy that one. I did, yeah. By the way, I love the cigarette smoking man in the X-Files. Yeah, the cancer man. He was one of the guys that was always around the table and the with those Illuminati guys or Majestic 12 or whatever they were supposed to be. Lacecorn says, I really hope Marvel cast Norman Reedus to be Ghost Rider in the MCU. He was made for that role. Oh! Are they... I didn't know they were... Is somebody talking about that? I mean, they wouldn't have to get anybody to ride his motorcycle. He obviously is an avid motorcycle rider. Let's see. Wow. Oh my gosh, I am so far behind. I'm sorry, guys. Wow. Richard says, Norman Reedus is a good actor, but I agree with you, Brian, on can he be a lead character. Yeah, and that's not, I'm not knocking the character. I believe the lead character needs that wingman or that wingman character, But like the Lone Ranger and Tonto, there is clearly the that leader, and it's nothing, subservient to the other character. That character is choosing to help that character. He can walk away at any time, Tonto or Daryl Dixon or whoever. But I'm not saying it in a way that's making them less, but I am saying you need that good your sergeant. You need that. You definitely need that. All good leaders need that character, and I think Daryl works out really well with that. Lacecorn says, I wish I could have dinner with Stan Gordon. Yeah, really nice guy. I've had him on the show a few times. Hung out with him a little bit at a couple conventions. Really neat guy. PBR says, I got into The Walking Dead when it was a black and white comic back in the day. Oh yeah. I have a reprint of the first issue of that. Very first issue. Richard says, Brian, have you ever watched the documentary series The Dark Side of the Ring? Yeah, I didn't see the whole thing, but I saw a few of those episodes. Yeah, that's an interesting show. Renee says, JFK was assassinated because he tried to disclose. Yeah, he wanted to break up the CIA, and among other things, and kind of go from there. Lacecorn says, if you bring back Chiller Chat, I'll be your first guest, Brian. All right. Now you remember that, Lacecorn. You said that. So I would like to bring that. I would like to bring that show back. Probably even more than Chiller Night Theater. Although I like Chiller Night Theater, of course, but I did, last October when Jack Shadow retired, I haven't done any more, and I don't really plan to, unless I would bring Jack Shadow back. And we will have a few special episodes, like around Halloween, that type of thing. But the Chiller Chat, yeah, that's one of these where you could go on and on about stuff like this, especially what we were doing there for the last 2 years or so, and having it live every Tuesday night. Wow, it's 8:54. Got so many comments. Richard says, how about the theory on the scream from the song Roller Coaster that a girl was being murdered during the recording of the song? What? I never even heard of that one, Richard. Wow. Roller Coaster. A girl was being murdered during the recording of that song. Wow, I never even heard of that one. That's crazy. Renee says, yes, I saw it change before my very eyes. We were in a Twilight Zone Outer Limits. So you did see that scene in the Wizard of Oz. Wow. I've only ever heard of it. Renee says, I want to believe. Fox Mulder. Yes. Yeah. Cattle mutilations, crop circles, alien hybrids, human hybrids. Renee's writing this down. Richard says, Dead City Rocks. Yeah, I know. It is really cool. So cool what they're doing with those characters. Negan and Maggie obviously have a very, strange dynamic, between the two. Negan killed her husband and father of her child, Herschel. So, but The Pittsburgh Ghoul Order says there's only one Ghost Rider, Nicolas Cage. Okay. Yeah, Nicolas Cage. I watched that movie, Renfield. Is that the total name of it? Oh, there's another one I wanted this. The Last Voyage of the Demeter is coming up in August. August 11th is when that's released. So I'm really looking forward to seeing that. You just reminded me of that Pittsburgh Ghoul Order. So, Stephanie says some actors from The Walking Dead were actually on Marvel Cinematic Universe. Yeah, I've noticed that. I've been seeing that quite a bit. Laser Coin says, I don't know if they're going to bring Ghost Rider to the MCU, but if they do, they need to cast Norman Reedus. Interesting choice. How old is Johnny Blaze supposed to be? Or is it even Johnny Blaze? When I was a kid, it was Johnny Blaze. I don't know if there's another Ghost Rider or not. That's how I haven't followed up on these comics since like the 80s. I used to love them, but it's been a while. Renee says, what you know as God is actually extraterrestrial alien, the cigarette smoking man. Oh, is that his take on it? Did he say that? Didn't know that. Stephanie says, some actors from The Walking... Oh, I already read that. Lisa says, I don't know if they're going to bring Ghost Rider to the end. Oh, I read that one too. Where the heck am I? Sheila says, The Lone Gunman, X-Files. Yeah, that was it. I used to really enjoy them on the X-Files. PBR says, The Walking Dead is Rick's stories, and all the other characters orbit around him. At least that's what I got from the story. Yeah, wow, we got a few minutes here. My take on that is, after Andrew Lincoln left the show, after they took Rick Grimes out of the storyline, at that point, I still watched it. Ava and I, it was still our Sunday thing, but there were the last several years, we watched it because that was our Sunday night thing to do with it, But I got to say, it lost its luster. It really did. That's why when I saw Dead City come on, it was like, two very interesting characters together in one show. Because with The Walking Dead, they were getting... This bothers me so bad. I don't mind good story. I mean, I do like good story. But what they were doing is they wanted so bad. I think they were trying so bad to be story heavy that it became boring. They were grabbing all these side characters. Side characters. Not even like the right here side characters. They're getting them out here and trying to bring them in like they were main characters. They weren't main characters. We all knew that. They weren't fooling any of us. And they weren't that interesting to make entire episodes out of, but they kept doing it. Oh, that was my complaint. I got to catch up to the... Wow, there's so many comments. Let me put the schedule up again because we are at 8:58. We only have about a minute or two left, so... At 8 p.m. this coming July 29th on Saturday night on Stream TV. 8 p.m. the Chiller Night Live pre-show, which is this. And then at 9 o'clock, the feature movie is Carnival of Souls, and that kicks off the other movies. 10:35, The Mad Monster. 12:10, Fiend Without a Face. And then at 1:45, for you night owls, the movie is The Bat. So there you go. That is the schedule for this Saturday for Chiller Night Theater. Let's see. Wasn't the Pittsburgh Ghoul Order says, wasn't the original Ghost Rider comic series about Carter Slade, the character Sam Elliott played? Oh, now that could have been like back in the day. I was thinking of the original like motorcycle riding one was Johnny Blaze. But that could be. Back in the horse riding days and the old Western days. That to me actually would be probably a more interesting story. I've got to admit I never read any of those ones. Pennsylvania says, since you guys suggested it, I'll go see it. What The Last Voyage of the Demeter, Lasercorn said he's looking forward to. Richard says, The Walking Dead franchise making crazy amounts of money. Yeah. Yep. All right, folks. Wow, so many comments. Thanks everyone for joining me and each other here tonight for another Chiller Night Live. And have a good night. Have a good chiller night, and we will see you next week.